Hi, and this is Miesha Johnston, and I am with Starseed Awakening. And anyway, for today, we have a real exciting show. We're going to be having Jujuolui, a wonderful guest. She's an author and a wonderful spiritual worker. Also, an experience she's going to be telling you about her contact that she has. Now, for me, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our my organization. And first of all, I have a meetup site, which is Starseed Awakening, Psychic Awareness. That's a meetup site. And there I have 2 meetings a month on the first Friday and the third Friday of every month. You can contact me by just going to meetup site, and it's tonight. In fact, tomorrow night I have my experiencer group, and it's a really safe place to come and share your experiences, and a place where you can be safe and know that it doesn't go any further than right there in the room. What is heard there stays there. I also have internet groups, which is on Uvu. At this time it's on Uvu, but I may be changing that here in the near future to a meeting type of group. But those groups are there every single week on a Sunday at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., which is usually an all-around group. I have quite a few European people who join us on that group because of the time is a little better for them. And then on Wednesday, we have a regular experiencer group once a week. Then the next week we have a reptilian contactee experiencer group of a positive reptilian contacts. The next group we have a hybrid program for people who have had hybrid experiences, and then actually we're working it out to twice a month. I'm co-facilitating a group with Tutakana, and it is for my MK Ultra, My Lab, ritual abuse, targeted individual, and super soldiers. Now, so you know, I am pretty much everything that I announced. Those are my experiences. So what I decided to do, actually, my guidance helped me, assist me. In 1992, I started a support group for experiencers. I had a children's group, and I had a teens group, and a men's group, and a women's group. I needed to get these groups going for people at that time that they were in so much fear. But now people are realizing that so much of their experience is simply their family contacting them and wanting to keep track of them, see how they're doing health-wise. They also facilitate in helping us to kind of counteract the terrible food that we have to eat, the air that we're breathing, as well as the shots and things that they force people to take, like such as children to enter school. So that's what they do. They are contacting us because they're our family and they love us, and they want to share what's going to be happening in the near future. And I know Jujuolui knows a lot of these things because she has had contact her entire life. And I have 2 more announcements I must make. Actually, 3. Very busy here in Las Vegas. We have an extraterrestrial art exhibit. This is my 3rd extraterrestrial art exhibit, and this one is at the Enterprise Library. The art exhibit consists of 35 pictures from around the world spanning 6 decades of artwork, which represents the actual extraterrestrials drawn by or for the people who were contacted. These encounters I will be sharing with you because I have a guided tour. And, of course, on the reception, which is February the 27th from 5 p.m. to 7:30, I will be having a reception with some hors d'oeuvres. We'll be talking and sharing about, as well as I will have a guided tour starting at 6:35 to explain all about the different art. Now, this art exhibit will be going from 2/27/14 to 4/15/14. So in April, it goes until the 15th. So I'd love to have you come out. And if you have a group you'd like to have me do a tour for, please contact me at 702-544-0000, and I can set that up for you. Now, also, we have a couple of conferences that are coming. The Awakening from the For Real groups are doing it. This is going to be a paranormal UFO combination, and there's many guests that are going to be speaking. You can go to For Real Encounters International to find out about the 2014 conference. And then now I'm going to be speaking at that conference as well, so I'll be telling my story. Also, I'll be having a support group on Saturday and Sunday for experiencers who can come and share their experience. So I'm hoping that you do that. Also, we have a Super Soldier and Mind Control Summit. This is done by Conscious Community Events, and it is May 30th through June 1st and 2nd. And this is for mind control, super soldiers, anyone involved with, they're going to be sharing their life and their stories about the Hollywood connection, the electronic harassment, targeted individuals, super soldiers, and of course the Monarch program. I also am going to be presenting there, and also we'll have a couple of support groups. So that covers everything with me, and I am excited to share with you our guest. She is, like I said, a lifelong contactee, and I'm going to call her Juju. And she's the creator and the manager of the Star Being Spiritual Center. She has been in the field of ufology and metaphysics since a very young age. Having ET contact since the age of 5, Juju became awakened to her ET identity. She became a section director of the UFO field investigator for MUFON in 2010. Juju has self-published a book entitled We Are Among You Already. It is about ETs incarnating on Earth as starseeds. Haven't I already said that? Definitely. Here's another person to confirm that. Also in 2010, she created the East Bay ET UFO Contact Group. Juju has been in various media, including written articles, radio shows, filmed for documentaries and movies. She aired it on Jesse Ventura's Conspiracy Theory show in November 2012. Juju is a certified Reiki master practitioner offering her services to people and pets. She also offers several classes on Starseed and ET Contact. And that's her new group, which is the Meetup group, which is Phoenix Star Beings and Spiritual Group. And that is... you can contact her through her meetup group if you're in Phoenix area, so you can attend those wonderful classes. She was telling me a little bit about them. I just wish I would be closer to Phoenix so I could attend. But maybe I can get her here to visit us and do that. So without any further ado, Juju, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Miesha. I'm happy to be here.
So, you can start in with whatever way you'd like to do it. I've got lots of questions I'm going to ask you a little later, and I also would like the chat group, and if anyone would like to call in, the call-in number is 702-751-0020. So you can call in and talk live on the air and ask Juju a question yourself. And I do encourage you to do that. Or you can go to the the chat group here, and ask a question through there. So then, go ahead, Juju. Why don't you tell us what was your first contact and how it all began for you?
Well, that's a really great way to start, because I wanted to say my people are here with me, and they kind of pointed out to me just now that a good way to start would be talk about perspective. Because when we're living on Earth in this 3D environment, our perspective here is very limited, and if we can open our minds and expand our consciousness with spiritual growth and the metaphysics, we can start having a bigger perspective, and maybe even gain an ET perspective as to how they view dealing and having contact with people of Earth, whether they're star being or not. So it's all a matter of perspective, and I'll tell you, when I was 5, and it all started happening for me, I was scared to death, because, as we all know, when we incarnate here, we get that spiritual veil where we forget where we came from for a moment. Right. Some of us have the gift of awakening and receiving memories of where we come from, like myself, because it's important for my mission, but most of us don't. Or I should say, a lot of us don't. We're awakening to that, but a lot of us come in not ever having that awareness. And so I was scared to death. In fact, I have to say, to be humble here, that I'm still somewhat afraid of the dark today because of my experiences then.
Uh-huh. And well, you know what? That's a normal thing for experiencers, I must tell you.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I like to share that because I want people to understand that even as an ET hybrid myself, having my own people contact me at the age of 5, I was so frightened that I thought it was me who was fainting when they were coming for me. Instead, I later learned that it was actually them triggering me to go unconscious so that they could do what they needed to do. But I thought I was so frightened I would just black out. So it's quite interesting, so my first contacts were basically them speaking to me through my optic nerves, which they put in. That was like the final thing they did when I was 5 years old. For an extent of like 6 months, every other night they would contact me, I think they were coming to my bedroom, but I'm not really sure if I was on the ship or if they were giving me a simulated room that looked like mine so that I would be comfortable. Mm-hmm. I just remember, the mist in the hallway and all the bright lights, wondering why no one else saw this stuff and I was the only one.
Sure. And
that I knew it was one person coming down the hallway. I could even tell you which way he was coming down the hallway, and I always knew it was a male. Mm-hmm. So that's that telepathy going on there, having that connection already. So that was kind of my contact with my people. I could not, at the age of 5, my mind could not really interpret what a walking, lizard-looking ET looked like. So what my mind, so what my mind did was I perceived him as Dracula. Because we do have that high cape. Mm-hmm. He always wore that high cape with the high collar. Right. I just saw Dracula, and he sat down right next to me. And I was wondering why I wasn't dead yet, because my heart was pounding out of his chest. Uh-huh. But he spoke to me telepathically and just calmed me right down. I'm not really sure how they do that. I don't know the specifics of how they do that yet. I know that they do that often. And so I actually watched him take out my eye one at a time and insert an implant on the optic nerve. So what's fascinating about that is that I'm like their, I don't know, it's like I'm like their satellite here. It's like everything that I experience, every way in any form and shape and sensation, they get it back on my planet. Mm-hmm. So I'm like their way of being here and experiencing Earth with them.
I'm so glad you said that, because if I could just share this with you, it's during my experience with Ayano, another reptilian group of beings, maybe the same, who knows, they were the same group, same species, but I had an eye implant, and I just assumed when my encounters ended that they had taken it out, but I wonder if they have. So, well, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about, like I did, like, why would they insert that? And I mean, we know these things happen to us, but we gain a perspective and the knowledge and understanding as we grow older, as we learn. So I've learned through time why they did this. Of course, I couldn't tell you this at age 6, that this was happening, but I can tell you that now. So I'm sure wherever you're at your point in life, that you can say, this is why they did that, and maybe perhaps they looked it into further contact.
Well, I think it's spiritual contact I have. I don't remember physical, because actually back in 2001, I went in front of the council and asked to cancel my contracts with all beings, because I was having so much military MILAD stuff. So hopefully they're still here. Maybe you can ask your group and see if they can tell you. But I will let you go on. Sorry to interrupt, my dear.
Oh, no. That's okay. Yeah, so you had asked about my first contacts, and that was pretty much it. I was terrified. As a child, I had problems like wetting the bed, because I don't know if it was a hybrid thing with my kidneys, or if I was being frightened so much that that happened. And I've never said that on an interview before.
Oh, well, we're just talking here. It's okay, because you know what? Experiencers have all had these experiences, and most of the people are going to be listening to this are experiencers, and people have been really looking forward to this interview.
Oh, great. When my people come through me like they are when I write my book and when I'm doing interviews, I find myself talking, and I'm trying not to go a certain place, but they take me there anyway. So I never know what I'm going to say. It's kind of humbling, but I'm in the service to them, and I know they're good and loving and peaceful and spiritual, so I trust them with everything I am.
So as a child, could you describe what you saw just a little more?
Sure. You mean as far as the ET?
Well, as a child, when you saw them, what did you think they were? Of course, you didn't have any frame of reference, but
right.
Just describe them a little bit from a child's point of view. Then I'd love to have you describe them from your point of view now, but I know that there's a difference when a child describes versus an adult.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it. As a child, being so terrified, I just saw Dracula. They didn't allow me to see them.
Oh, they didn't actually. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I could feel them, and I knew it was a male, and I knew it was one person coming for me. But I never got to see them, which made it scarier.
Oh, all right. Just the cape and everything. Okay, I
just
understand.
That one time, the very last contact that I had with my people, with him at that time, what they were doing was altering my DNA, making me an actual hybrid at that time. So yeah, I just saw him as Dracula at the moment, and I can't describe that any better. Everyone can picture Dracula, tall and
yes, that's good. That's good.
With the cape. And one time I actually did run away. I had the courage to run away because I saw a hole in the floor. But this is what makes me think that I wasn't really in my room because I don't have a hole in my floor. So I ran towards the hole, and I actually had the courage. I was so proud of myself. I ran down this hole, and I got to the bottom floor, and it was pitch dark, which of course made me afraid And I turn around, and lo and behold, there's these red eyes, glowing red eyes, like coming right at me, which scared the crap out of me more. And here I had the courage to actually do something, and it put me back 2 steps.
Right.
So I never did that again. I thought that was kind of funny, and I was so freaked out by these experiences that I was sharing them with my family. And my older sister remembers me telling my parents about it so much that they moved my brother into the room to be with me.
Oh, really?
Kind of support me at the time. So he was 4 and I was 5. But what's funny about that is on one of the experiences, I woke up during the contact, and there was a huge window above his head in my room. So, see, I'm not really sure if we're on the ship, or in my room, of course, but this huge window, and I'll tell you what, I view this the same today as I did then. I can say this because I remember it, even though I was only 5. There were all these different ETs, but they were all kids. I mean, I remember seeing every color, every tentacle and antenna and type of hand and appendage you can think of, walking. It's like they were on a moving belt, like they were just walking past the window. And I actually smiled looking up at them and seeing all those kids, a different type of kids. It was, they never...
all children, hybrid children that were visiting.
Actually, yeah, I don't even know if they were hybrids, but they looked like pure ETs,
but they're children. To make it a little more comfortable for you.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was really strange. I mean, it didn't have anything to do with my contact that I remember, and they never actually explained that to me. But here it was, my brother was supposed to help comfort me, and right above him was this window with all the ETs passing by. So it was kind of funny, actually.
That is.
Yeah, so that's really all I remember as a child seeing as far as ETs go. I've always had a connection with them telepathically, so I would continuously get mental flashes throughout my life, warning signs. They would physically do things for me if I wasn't getting the clue, like making me turn around on the freeway one day and telling me that the pain wouldn't stop until I exited off the freeway and got back on the on-ramp. And so, here I was going to college, and I was like, I never missed a day in college. And I was really upset that they were making me do this because I wanted to go to school. But the pain got so bad in my stomach that I just told them, I yelled at them, said, fine, get off the freeway. And they said, well, it's not going to stop until you're on the other way, going home. So, I don't know what they helped me miss that day, but they've done similar things to help prevent me from getting involved with the entities that are not, not the ones we really want to mess with, the more service to self types. But I won't know, what that was all about, but I trust it. So.
Well, I'm sure. So to understand, I just want you to go ahead and continue, but to understand your encounters were more that when you were taken on board the ship, you actually you telepathically communicated with them, but you were not seeing them on board the ship or anything like that, or sometimes it made you feel like you were just in your room. Is that right?
Right. Most of the time, it was my room setting.
Okay.
But like having that huge window on the wall, that's
not
what
exactly your room. Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking that maybe what they were doing was letting me think that I was in the room so I wouldn't get too upset. But I was definitely being probably aboard their craft at the time. And yeah, they wouldn't let me see them. I think that for my higher good, and I know this is what they do. If it's not for your highest good, they will not let you know. They will not give you that information.
That's true.
I believe that's why they wouldn't let me see them. Although it doesn't make sense if I am part of them. If I'm a reptilian hybrid here on Earth, you would think that I would be able to see them. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you see them now, right?
I don't see them because
you still don't see them. Oh.
Well, they don't come to Earth.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, Earth is kind of like in a quarantine. Our people won't come here because, we're a fifth-dimensional race of reptilians in the Andromeda Galaxy.
Okay.
And although we're nearby, Earth is quarantined for us because of the reptilian species that are already involved here.
Uh-huh.
It's been going on for a long time, but we just have not. We don't do this area. We leave that to the Galactic Federation.
Okay. Well, that's good information. I didn't know about that. Okay.
Yeah. I'll have contact with other ETs, other star families of mine that drop by, and then I actually get trained by them and all these other things. But my people, they just come through my implant. Mm-hmm. They just all telepathic with.
Okay. Well, so where do you want to go next?
Well, it's interesting if you don't mind me talking about a couple of experiences.
Oh, I want you to. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I sometimes mistakenly say that I've had contact all my life, but I think what's a better definition for that is throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like every day I wake up I have have these great ET contacts and experiences. But, I don't want to mislead anybody. But throughout my life, I have them here and there, and basically everyone's different, I think, in what their mission is here on Earth. And a lot of people have these wonderful conscious experiences. They, go out in the forest somewhere and they have this craft land right before them, and they get and touch it and go inside and have a little ride and all that. And that would be the most miraculous gift to receive, that kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have that type of experiences. I will see craft in the sky, and it will communicate to me by flashing, and telepathically, talk to me. I guess they make use of my implants as well, because I know most of my contacts now are with the grays, the different types, different species of what we call gray. We have all different sizes and colors there.
Right.
And so most of my experiences are with them. They've been some of my greatest teachers, teaching me what unconditional love actually feels like, and helping me to project that. They actually handed me a child, a hybrid baby, one time. It wasn't mine, but they handed it to me. And there must have been great trust in them for me, because he wanted me to project energy to this child. And he prefaced it strongly by saying, beware that this is a hybrid or full ET baby. It's very sensitive to what you project to it.
Uh-huh.
So you can hurt it by sending it negative emotions.
Oh, yes.
So here I have a baby in my arms, and they want me to practice sending unconditional love to it. And what was beautiful about this is, as I start, they would telepathically, tell me, nope, you're thinking of this right now, and that actually has a lower vibration, which can harm the baby. So don't they wouldn't say don't do it, but they would say let that go. You need to release that part, because they were showing me a stream of light, and that there's a stream within that stream of light that was miscolored, and that was a direct correlation to what I was feeling that they didn't want. So they were showing me if you could see color as vibration, you would see unconditional love as pure white. Well, when you think of a relationship and maybe a longing for someone, that piece of string within that light became red. They would show me that and say, nope, you can't send that. You have to release that. And so it was a beautiful thing, because now as a Reiki practitioner, I use that, and knowing that I need to be the clearest filter I can be when I'm channeling universal healing energy. And it's such a gift to be able to see that and actually understand it.
Oh, yes.
That was a beautiful experience. And most of my experiences happen in the astral, where my physical body doesn't necessarily go, that I'm aware of. But I will wake up with the gift of remembering the experiences.
Oh, that is a gift.
It really is a gift, and I say it's a gift because, we all wake up totally exhausted some nights, or really upset, or really elated about something. And so we know something happened, but we don't remember what it was. And that's frustrating. We always want to know. And so, a lot of people talk about having hybrid children with these ETs, and that they were not asked, they were not given permission. Well, one beautiful event that I had was this really tall gray with a different kind of head to him, floated over to me in the ship. And he just approached me and very gently said, would you like to help us produce a hybrid child using your DNA? And I said, sure, why not?
So it's interesting you remembered that. Now, maybe people don't remember them being asked.
I'm glad that you said that, because I'm really careful on how I approach people with that one. Some people, with no judgment by saying this, but some people need to be in a place of feeling a victim, and for the time being. And I don't want to take that away from anybody, if they need to feel that way. But there's a point where, when you're growing and you're trying to gain answers, that a lot of people will go back to the fact that at some level of their being, there was actually permission given.
I totally agree.
Great love, because a lot of people don't feel that because they just don't remember. But I don't want to experience from them either. A lot of people, I feel that if you have a feeling about something, then you're entitled to that feeling, and I don't want to take that away from you. But if you're willing to look at it in a different way, if you're at that step where you can allow someone to give you a different perspective, I would offer that there may have been a time on some level that you were actually given permission for this stuff. But that's their own path. That's their own truth they need to find. But yeah, I feel very lucky and fortunate that they allowed me to remember that. And, they've always made me feel like family. Sometimes they'll just pick me up and they'll let me be in their ship just because they know, that I miss home so much. And it's, like I said, it's usually, the Gray family. And I'm just saying the word Gray because everyone knows what EP that is.
Right. Describe them for us. That'd be wonderful.
Well, they're also different looking. But, the typical, what we say gray with the almond-shaped eyes, and the really enlarged head, I call them the insectoid beings. To me, grays are all insectoids, just like the praying mantis. They're all kind of within the same family. And, we have some species here on Earth that look very similar to the grays. If you look at a bee or any insect on Earth, you'll see the pointy chin, big head, big eyes. So it's kind of neat in essence to look at our insects here and know that we have intellectual, spiritual beings somewhere that look just like that somewhere.
Yes. Well, now the one on the ship, you said it was a taller tall one, and it floated. I find that very interesting because one of the ones that was with me my whole life was a tall one that floated. And I called him the willowy one because he just, was willowy. I didn't know it. That's what I called him as a child. I started calling him willowy one. It was like a weeping willow because he moved so uniquely, and he floated, and he didn't feel like he had like a bone structure. I'm sure he did of some kind, but it just seemed that way. So when you were talking about one floating, I was just wondering if they're similar groups or something.
Yeah, what's interesting is we're going to get to the other side eventually and say, oh my gosh, we all have the same being come to us, or like the same family, or because we're also, we come from all over the place, but it's amazing how many beings that we all actually interact with that are pretty similar. Gosh, who knows? Maybe we do have the same people.
Yeah.
Same beings. Maybe they contacted you before they came over here.
I don't know. But
you were even on the ship. When I was up there, I run into people a lot that say that they recognize, and I don't really know where they're getting that from, but that's a possibility.
It is. Yeah, it is. I'm quite a bit older, so I'd have probably seen you when you were 5 years old.
Well, let me tell you something that's going to be interesting is that I had a friend that's in her 60s, and we're really close, and I actually received a flash memory from my people. Now, this is really interesting. I will not name names, but I was actually on the ship in my reptilian form, and we picked her up one night.
Oh.
I remember seeing her. And that freaked me out for at least an hour after receiving that flash memory. It's like the flash memories, I call them like genetic memories, where in your DNA it's coming back to the surface, and I think that's organized on some level. And that was very interesting. I never even
makes perfect sense. I've never heard it that way, but that's absolutely perfect. That your memories are in your DNA, and there's a purpose for them to come back, and that's amazing.
Well, what was so amazing was just seeing that. I could actually see the back of her head in this little nightgown. And I was just totally amazed that here I am, the ET on the ship. And
were you a female or were you a male? Do you happen to know?
Well, yes, our people were actually both.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, our reptilian species has both sexes. That's why in this lifetime I'm really androgynous. I'm female in this lifetime, but I'm very androgynous looking, where I confuse a lot of people. But yeah, just very natural for me. We don't have the taboos, as you can imagine, that we have here on Earth, because we have both sexes. We don't really think of them as male or female. We look at things differently. And
that, how much sense that makes for different people I've heard share their experiences and stuff, men and women. So as being an androgynous, they could actually come across very much like a female for a man, and yet they could come across more like a masculine for a male, masculine for a woman, right?
Yeah, and you.
That's great.
Yes, as split-dimensional beings, we're kind of more in touch or more in balance with the male and female energies, or the universal energies, whatever you want to define them as. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting that I don't know a lot of other beings that way, but I'm sure there are. It's kind of interesting.
Well, yes, I've heard it for other groups too. That there's.
Have you? Okay.
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. So it isn't just the reptilians, but I wondered about that as well because of my own experience. because I get the feeling that they are not only are they androgynous, but they're a very how do we put this?
Open, uninhibited.
Yeah, I guess open, uninhibited type of a group. I don't like to call it species, but so I don't know. You have a better word than species? I don't like that word myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, open group.
Group sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah, we can use that term. That's no problem. Yeah. So a lot of my experiences here on Earth have been. It's funny with the male ETs for some reason. Even though in this lifetime I prefer females. Well, that was silly. I've never been with a human male. But when it comes to the ETs, it's totally different. And that's kind of interesting. I actually have a couple of ETs who are the gray type, the gray group, that I actually know that I have romantic relationships with. And, sometimes I wake up from these experiences while I'm having them at nighttime and think of how odd that is because I know they're male.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not attracted to males on this planet. So it's just kind of interesting perspective. How we are here may be different than how we are, out there in the universe.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Well, of course, we're multidimensional beings, so we can be all.
That's right. Yeah, I think we like to experience it all. That's for growth.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And, another type of contact I've had recently, a couple of really profound ones, was one of my great friends in my nighttime experience came to me and said, I have someone for you to meet. And so I followed him, and I came across this woman, this like 12-year-old girl that was sitting on the ground. He walked over to her and sat down with her. And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I instantly knew that she was my reptilian daughter. And I'm not sure of all the details, but I knew that she was a hybrid, but she would have more of the reptilian DNA than I do. And she was very scared and very sensitive because I guess she just came in. And our skin is a lot different from reptilian skin here on Earth, and she was very frightened of being hurt because our scales are quite sensitive, especially if rubbed wrong. And humans don't know this stuff, so they could really hurt her. And she was just very sensitive, like you couldn't touch her. But she looked at me and said, "But you can touch me because you know what it feels like."
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just amazed at her meeting my reptilian daughter for the first time, and I had no idea. I had no idea that I had a reptilian daughter in her that was coming in, or that was a hybrid. So this was quite a shock.
I found that out that there was many, 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 hybrid children coming in on this planet, and they because I think it's just a really important thing. It's kind of like the children shall lead you kind of thing, and I was given that saying over and over again in my life: the children shall lead them, the children shall lead them. I believe the hybrid children are going to be doing a lot of that, and as these children that are coming in, the 12-year-old and my grandchildren, for instance, we're going to see some amazing things with these hybrid children, and we're already seeing them. I mean, they're phenomenal children. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I really have. I have some experience for myself in my own family of star children coming in past me. I guess they come in like on a genetic line, like on a bloodline. They'll follow the genetic lines. So it seems to be on a certain side of your family, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I already have some experience with that, and actually they're really amazing, but yet it's really difficult for the parents. Knowing how to deal and resolve things that are coming up, whether it's dietary stuff that they're going through, or this whole ADHD that they're attributing to Starseed children now, that most of them have it, and the anxieties and depression and stress that they're coming in with as well. Yeah, it's very challenging for the parents, and I'm trying to help my family out with this issue, but I got to be careful because all I can really do is provide the information and let them decide the best way to tackle it, because the Starseed child chose them to be the parent, so I gotta let them out.
That's the truth. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's quite interesting. Yeah, these children are awesome, and a part of me, really loves having them here and being a part of my life, and just seeing the wonderful gifts they have. It's amazing. It almost makes me envious of the gifts they have, and but it comes with challenges, that's for sure.
It does. It does. So, where do you want to go from here?
Well, there was one other recent experience that was pretty profound for me, and I think a lot of times I'm having experiences, I'm just not remembering them, but this other one they let me remember probably just a couple months ago, where the Grays had me, one of the groups, I'm not sure which one, but it doesn't really matter to me. They had me actually piloting one of their small craft. It was just like a very small disc ship. I was the only one inside of it, and they were around me. And I think we were out. I actually think we were near San Francisco, like the Golden Gate Bridge. I think we were out that direction for some reason. But I remember them telepathically communicating to me and teaching me. They were trying to teach me the concept of how to fly their craft from one material or atmosphere to another. And I was amazed. I was just totally in awe of their intelligence and their ability to be patient with me. Because our minds here work a lot slower.
Yes.
Well, I should say our brains. Our brains here work a lot slower. Our minds are beautiful, but so they had me over the water, and being connected telepathically to a being, you can feel their essence. You can feel their intelligence. It was overwhelming, and I just remember being in so much awe over that. But here they were trying to teach me fly this ship from the air, which I was hovering, into the water. And it's so funny because here I was, flying it, literally flying in the air and splashing into the ocean and underwater.
That's crazy.
I could see him shaking his head and going, "No, you're thinking too much. You're thinking that that you're traveling, from there to here. It's not. You don't think that way. You're actually kind of teleporting. Basically, you're not actually traveling. You just go from where you're at, and you mentally tell the ship to go to a place under the water. So it's in an instant rather than a traveling motion and speed. So he was really trying to teach me how to fly the ship in that way.
And it's all telepathic.
Right. I remember a band on my head where I could see. That's how I guess I was driving or flying the craft. And then so I was able to see them. There was many of them helping to teach me this for some reason. I don't know why. But I could see their face when they were talking to me. It was just so neat.
I'd love to, since you had these one-on-one experiences and they're so vivid.
Right.
Can you tell me, see, because people want to say that Greys don't have feelings, they're very emotional. I mean, they're just not emotional at all. They don't have any feelings. People say, they don't seem to smile or laugh. So, what's your perspective on them?
Well, thanks for asking, because I found myself one shoe in the ET's perspective and the other foot in the human perspective. So I kind of have a good perspective of the ET a lot of the time, and to me, the types that I have dealt with or had experiences with of the Greys, they've been my greatest teachers. Teaching me how to send unconditional love to one of their babies. Wow, that was such a profound experience. And I'll tell you, I haven't felt that type of unconditional love except for my own people. So that's a lot for that group.
Well, it does. So that's the telepathic. Now, what about in the face? Do you see any facial changes? Like we smile, we grin, just get a perspective of that, because you can feel the unconditional love telepathically. That's fabulous. But I want to see why people want to put all the Greys in this category that they don't have emotions, and even though they're not themselves maybe picking up on the fact that they're having unconditionally loved telepathic energy towards them. So what's their facial features? Do they smile? Or do they not show their emotions on their face?
I'm thinking about, it's funny, when I don't think they really show it, because I don't think it's expressed outwardly. I think it's all expressed inwardly and projected. And I know that sounds funny, but
no, not really, because I've had other people, and I've experiencer groups. I've had other people talk about how they felt the love from them.
Right,
but then nobody talks about they saw them smile or chuckle, or they may change their. But they don't even seem to, you don't see any change in their eyes. So people, for us, eyes are the window of the soul. So if you can't really see in the eyes, it's getting confusing for people.
Okay,
and it's something I think they need to know about humans and how we feel.
Thank you for saying the window of the soul. Oh my gosh. My people just showed me another experience that I had to remind me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is really... Okay, we're talking about a human perspective here. Okay, we like to see facial expressions. We like to read body language. That's how we communicate. Before we communicate, that's how we communicate. Well, a lot of ETs are not like that. They don't need to be like that because they're telepathic. Because everything that they are, their essence, their emotions, their thoughts, they're already being transmitted and projected. And if you are a being of a high enough frequency that you can tap into that, you don't need those facial expressions. You don't need it because you already know what they're thinking and feeling. So really the facial expressions are obsolete. It's not needed.
Okay. This is so interesting. Did you say that?
Yes, because that's a 3D thing. The facial expression, the body, the physical body, that's the lowest manifestation of the soul. So when you're connected telepathically at a higher vibration with beings, you don't need that outer expression because you're already connected to the soul.
Well, that absolutely explains why I had a time where I was shown a reptilian child, and I immediately felt like he was mine. And he was like very big, but looked like he was probably about 3 years old, but I think he was much younger than that. But in my mind, I had this picture and these words that said, that they were very pleased this was a success, because then they showed me how other people had been given children and had, fainted or dropped the kids or cried or ran away and things like that. So I got a really strong feeling that they were very, very happy with me.
Oh, that's great.
But yet, what did not show on their face.
Right.
Yeah, so that's
well,
really good
Have you ever seen a reptilian smile?
For me, now there's other people in my group have. Ayano was not the smiling type. He did one time show me his teeth, and I was frightened. So therefore, I don't think he ever showed them to me again. But I know other people who have had their reptilians that they've had encounters with laugh even, and they can hear them. They make a laughing kind of sound. So I found, that's the whole thing. There's hundreds, if not, I'm sure thousands of different types of reptilian groups that are visiting, and people are having different encounters in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. My people have shown me a lot about what they look like, and yeah, there's so many. It's really cool. I mean, so many colors. And you start. We got this thing about our tails, because our tails are quite long, and they're actually used for so many things. Even though we're fifth-dimensional beings, we still have, we still take pride in appearance and body, and manifest it on that level of frequency. And it's just, like the chickens have the wattle and comb. That's, our people actually have that. One of my exes saw me shapeshift in bed one night, and confirmed that for me. And I'll tell you, I never told her about me being ET. Ever. I just never went there. And after that night, she said, I almost ran out of the room screaming. But I actually, when I watched, I actually saw it morph back into you. I could actually see you in the shape, and then it morphed right in front of my eyes. And that was so chilling for me, those truth chills you get.
Oh, yes.
Because I never told her about this ET stuff, and that I was one of them. So that was so confirming for me. It just really threw me on this great spiritual path, of even more genetic memory flashes. But that was just awesome, to see that and have someone else say that that's true. So she definitely saw the wattle and the comb and the greenish dark scales, and just like I imagined it, just like I saw. Jeremy is the one, that's his name, that's my reptilian mate on my planet. He's the one that always comes to me throughout my life. It came to me when I was, 5 and 6 there. So he's the one I kind of mate with, and
now, we're about to go on break, so I'm just going to have you just wrap up this particular point, and then we'll go on break.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, well, you were just talking about your mate on the planet, and
so when I was younger, I would draw him because I remember having experiences with him. But I learned the hard way: you don't take that to your class and share that with people.
No.
Another mistake we as Starseed sometimes make.
No, that's right. Yes, and even as an adult, you have to be careful of who you tell, because then crazy things, names and stuff happen.
That's true. It does happen, but
lizard lover,
Yes, that's okay. I don't mind.
Yeah, I had really nasty names called to me because, of course, I was in an experience with Ayanos and had a lot of contact going on there, and at the same time I was having the MyLab experience where I had the government and then some Greys and then some reptilians. But the government guys, of course, I don't know what the reptilians were thinking or saying, or the Greys, but the government guys, were calling me a lizard lover, and they cuss at you and things like that. So we have to watch what we say for sure. Well, we shall go into a break now, and then when we come back, where do you want to go when we come back?
Well, you know what? I forgot to go into the explanation of the grays, the eyes of the soul thing. I wanted to continue and share that one story.
Oh, you know what? I'm sure that she won't mind if we just go over a little. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, one night, I find myself on ships a lot where people look human, and I know that they're not. So I'll walk up to them, and they're all watching me or watching the group that I'm with, and I'll actually confront them and say, "I know you're not human." And I don't know why I do that. I just do that. But this one group let me walk up. This one person stood aside and motioned at me to come over. And so I approached her, and she was in uniform, and I remember what she looked like and everything. I remember all the details. I walked up to her, and she stepped closer, into my space bubble, and she let the half side of her face, she showed me that she was gray.
Oh.
But she left the other side was human so that the other people that I was with saw her as human.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you, she stepped closer, and I don't know how, I cannot describe how this happened to you, but I went through her eye and into her soul. It was one of the most profound experiences, and I'll tell you, people that love the grays, or the ETs that are who we call the gray groups, if they ever get that close to their eye, they'll always tell you it's like falling into the universe. It's so vast, and it's beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience, and so I got to feel the essence of her soul, and she allowed me to do that. That was just amazing. I felt so blessed.
Oh, that was wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad you shared that with us before we went on break. All righty, well, we're going to go on break. Well, I think we'll be there about 3 minutes, and go get a drink of water or whatever, and we'll be right back. Okay, I guess we are back on air, and I wanted to just give a few announcements here. Our Starseed Awakening and Las Vegas Psychic Awareness group is, you can go on Meetup and join that. I have 2 groups a month. I have the first Friday and the third Friday of every month. I also have internet. Now, in fact, I should tell you that this Friday, the 21st, we have our Experiencer group, and that is for people who have had experience and contact, and we're going to be sharing. It's a safe place to share your experiences. So do get a hold of me at Las Vegas Psychic Awareness Starseed Experiencer group on Meetup. Also, on the internet, I have 2 groups a week of Experiencer groups every Sunday from 11 to 3 p.m. and every Wednesday from 4 to 7. And every week I change the Wednesday group. So one week I have an Experiencer group of like reptilians, and the next group is an Experiencer for ETs or Greys, and the next Experiencer group would be like a hybrid and then I also have co-facilitate with Tutantana. She is the facilitator of our group. It is an MK Ultra group, and my lab, Ritualistic Abuse, Targeted Individual, Super Soldier, and that next meeting is coming up on the 28th, which is a Friday. So if you are that, contact either Tutitana or myself on the Starseed site. You can reach us, and you can contact us, and we'll send you a questionnaire to see if it's the kind of a group that's for you. So you can go on my website as well, starseedawakening.net, and my email is starmiesha99@yahoo.com. Just a quick note to tell you that my extraterrestrial art exhibit this year is going to be at the Enterprise Library from February 27th to April 15th, and on February the 27th from 5 to 7:30 we will have a reception and a guided tour. And we'll have 35 pictures from around the world spanning 6 decades of artwork, which represents the actual extraterrestrials drawn by or for the people who had the contact. This is not Hollywood's version. These are the real ETs. So come to that. It is open when the library is open, so you can go anytime in the gallery to see it. But I'd love to have you come by on the reception and say hello, because it'll be interesting to tell you about the different individual pictures and the people's experience that had those pictures drawn or drew them. And then we have on the 28th, 9th, and 30th of March, the Awakening and Aware Conference. That is if you go to For Real Encounters on Facebook, you can go to the tickets, and you can see the speakers that are going to be there. I'm going to be speaking, telling my story. And also I'm going to be having an experiencer group 2 of the days. So do come by, and it's in Las Vegas, and you'll get a little bit more information by going to either my site or For Real Encounters. Also, Super Soldiers and Mind Control Summit number 3 is on May 30th through June 1st, 2nd, and that's going to be a really exciting one that tells you a lot about what's going on and in electronic harassment, targeted individuals, the Hollywood connection. Going to be 12 expert presenters. I'm also going to be participating in that, and I will have experiencer groups on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So I just want to get back to our wonderful guest, Jujuolui Did I pronounce that right? Anyway, I've been calling her Juju because she's got a beautiful name, but I keep pronouncing it wrong. So, are you there?
Oh, of course.
Okay. How
you don't pronounce it wrong.
I?
However you pronounce it is fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just call me Juju. That's fine. It's my reptilian name, and it's funny because that's actually my reptilian name, and I have a passport in that name here on Earth, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very legal here. It's just they gave it to me. They gave me my name so that I would remember more, and which is kind of cool. But you know, Miesha, I wanted to say to you, Star Sister to Star Sister here.
Uh-huh.
You know, thank you for all that you do. You do so much, and I really give you a lot of credit, and I honor you.
Well, thank you. It's my mission, and I love it. And you know, that's when I went up there and argued with them about coming home, and they said, "No, your mission isn't done. You have to come back." And I did. I got real serious, realizing that it was my mission. So, still, the latest thing is we're going to be working on getting school for children to be able to be taught like a starseed should be taught, and not like the curriculum and, you know, the very narrow-minded, controlled pattern that they teach in school. So we are actually, a group of us are working on that to get a school going.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like K-12?
Yes, it will.
Oh, wow.
K-12, yes.
That's
so
amazing.
we're really excited about that. My group, my reptilian family, is what has been the have guided me to do this.
Well, that's a really huge thing. Wow. I'm impressed.
Well, maybe, you know, you were talking a little bit earlier with your classes, and, you know, maybe we can work something out and I think it'd be wonderful to have you come to the school and teach the classes.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Yes, I would love to. I mean, I love Las Vegas. I love the heat. That's why I'm here in Phoenix. You know. And, yeah, I was thinking of that on break. I was like, that would be so cool to go up there and give a class. You know, and I love that song, by the way. That touches my soul to hear that.
Mine too, yes.
Great.
Well, okay, so I don't want to take any more time away from you. I want you to share more with us, and because I'm sure we'll have some questions. So, where would you like to go next? Do you want to tell us how your path has changed, or, you know, what? Just go ahead and tell us whatever you'd like to about how you feel your mission is, and what it is, and everything.
Oh, sure. My people are helping me see that what would be good to say is that, you know how we all have this ego, of course, which is, it's not a good or bad thing, it's just what it is. And, you know, to know thyself is actually beautiful. So ego is really positive in that way. And but we have this thing about judging ourselves and you know, competition, and, you know, and so the thing I wanted to say here is that there's a lot of starseeds out there at different degrees of awareness. Mm-hmm. And we really need to say to each other, you don't have to be like me to have the experiences that I've had in order to be a starseed. It's different for everybody. And I think this is just important because there's a lot of starseeds who are, you know, coming out. Mm-hmm. And those who are older as well, you know, some of our elders that that, you know, can look at some of these kids coming in and see all the experiences they've had, and some of the other starseeds that are here, and say, well, gosh, maybe I'm less of a starseed, so look at what they're doing. And I just want to point out that, you know, please release that, because, you know, there's a lot of quizzes and starseed lists out there that you can take, and, you know, to see whether you're a starseed or, you know.
I have a couple of them.
Yeah, it's fun to do, but be wary of those because only you, and I'm saying you as you in general, can determine whether you are a starseed or not. Don't let anyone tell you you're not. Don't let anyone tell you you are. Feel it out for yourself. Look at all the circumstances, if you care to know. First of all, if people are seeking for that, there's something in them that drives them to seek for that information. That's kind of a sign itself. And, so I just think it's really important that people know, don't be hard on yourself. If you feel a connection, if you feel like you are a starseed, then, don't judge your experiences with others because we're all beautifully diverse. We all come from so many dimensions and groups and races of ETs. See, I'm trying to get around that other word you don't like.
No, that's all right.
And other galaxies and other universes as well. So, gosh, it's so unfathomable, And so, how are you going to act if you take this being that has 8 octopus-looking legs of our universe and you bring them into the 3D dimension of human bodies? It's such a huge difference. So, of course, it's going to be different for everybody, depending on what your mission is, and depending on what kind of contacts you wanted to have here as a soul, and what kind of learning and journey that you planned on having while you were here. Was it more like a free-for-all type of mission that you came here for, or was there a very specific plan for your people? There's just so many differences. So I just wanted to point that out. I know it's
Thank you. I think that's extremely important because I know that I'll get that from people in a group, and they'll say, "Well, I'm not as good as Starseed or something like that." And no, it's not true. Everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be, and they are. And I love the way you pointed it out. Well, we're not all from the same planet, so it's going to be different. It's got to be different.
Definitely. I mean, why would we want it the same, right?
Exactly.
I know that a big thing that we face here on Earth is fear of the unknown.
Yes.
That damages so much. But if we can get past that fear of the unknown and open ourselves, allow ourselves to open up to potentials of what the truth really is, it'll come to us. As we expand in our consciousness, it changes our vibration. With the change of our vibration, those beings, like our star families, can see that we're now in a different vibrational frequency and can give us more information.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It's kind of like those who need proof never get it because they're not in the vibration to receive the information. And once you allow that, once you open up to that other potentials, and then your vibration changes, and then that's when you get the information.
That's very true.
So there's just so much to learn. It's, gosh, I mean, it seems like the more we learn, the more we realize there's so much more out there to learn. And then you run into an ET that's trying to teach you something, and you can see and feel their patience level, that they have to slow down so much just to communicate to you so you get it. And it's humbling. It's like, wow, they could teach so much if we, well, for one, if we could remember.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we have the forgetful veil, I can't say the word all of a sudden, forgetfulness. We forget who we are, that we are spiritual beings having a human life.
Or a hybrid life.
Or a hybrid life, exactly, exactly, yes.
And you know what? That's a good point, too, is that it doesn't matter if you're from a human soul group, or if you're a starseed hybrid, it doesn't really matter. We're all special and unique. It's just fun to talk about these things, to learn from them, and not to make them better than, or to make them more special. It's just a fact that it's different, and that's why we're getting together and talking about these things, so we can have that understanding. Because with that understanding, we can have the word alien. To use that word alien, it only separates us from learning more. So with the understanding, we're growing. We're getting to the point where we can call them family and brothers and sisters, and it's just a beautiful thing to connect in that way.
Absolutely, galactic family. That's a term that I started saying back in '92, and they weren't quite ready for that concept.
Oh, so you're a forerunner of the new description.
Yeah, my group was called. Get this, my group was called Star Children, Star Family, Star Children, Star Family was what it was called. Star Family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but there wasn't really. People had a really strong, hard concept of to exactly understand it.
Yeah.
But
you're ahead of your time, Miesha.
There's a lot of people that are ahead. Yeah, there was a lot of people doing that. I was from the hippie time and stuff, so we realized, that I believe that particular group of Starseed people were really troublemakers. Movers and shakers, and really wanted to change things.
Yeah, and that's also, isn't that when George Adamski's...
Yes, well, that was before. George Adamski was before, but yes, when I was growing up, I knew about George Adamski. In fact, I did not remember it, but my family used to come to Giant Rock to see the landings that I don't exactly remember which group it was. It was a human group that were coming there, and yes, George Adamski was definitely a forerunner of that.
Yeah, those were great times. I wish we still had him around, and that giant rock thing that he built from the ET's instructions. I guess they had.
Yeah, they take their time. Oh no, that was the giant rock. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I just on top of my tongue here, I forgot what it was called, but yeah. So anyway, that was a great period. But I think that's where that song "Calling All Occupants" came in handy.
Probably, I'm sure, because my dad would say that. I mean, my parents would actually talk about it, even though I could not remember these experiences whatsoever. But they would talk about how. There would be hundreds and hundreds of people out there in that flat desert area around Giant Rock waiting for Adamski to call in the ETs.
Huh.
So it was pretty exciting.
That would have been.
I don't know why they don't do it again. I'm ready, I'll tell you.
Well, yeah, some of us are doing it. I think it's on a more personal level now, unless you go to like the UFO conferences and things that are happening like that, where we have big get-togethers, and I know they always come in for those. But what's interesting I wanted to mention was that my people have kind of talked to me a lot about the alliances that are out there when trying to explain. See, because I've been so homesick, I've actually been ready to go since I was 29.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because I was really done being here, and I told all my family I was going to leave at 29. Well, I don't know what happened to that contract. But
they probably said your mission's not complete.
Well, I'm not too happy about that, actually. But yeah. So since then, I've just been kind of struggling to find my way and do my mission, and do what I need to do to be here, to be of service. And they were showing me that they can't come here like I want them to, because of the whole quarantine thing. But they show me that the Galactic Federation has unique establishment over this galaxy, the Milky Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that so they're really the authority, I guess you would say, when star beings incarnate. We are part of a lot of different alliances, and one of the main ones that my people are with is called it's actually called the Star Alliance.
Star Alliance, okay.
Yeah, and it has its own symbol, like an oval-shaped symbol to it that's made out of stars. But that's a whole different alliance that I'm a part of out there. But for here, see, so before I incarnated here, we had to go to the council and prepare these things. So what we would do is we would get together with the Galactic Federation as well. It's kind of a respect thing. When you go into someone else's area, you kind of say, hey, we're going to send a representative here, and they're going to incarnate, and, we can't go to Earth, so we would like to pass the baton to you as far as, taking care of them, or allowing certain other star families to come in and be a part of their life, and we'll have these type of contacts, and this is their contract, for their soul journey here. I think they run all these things by each other.
Oh.
And this stuff is so well prepared, it's unreal, that we go through all these connections before we even arrive here. And how I just think it's wonderful team player work. I mean, it's like the epitome of teamwork.
Right.
Of being of service to Earth and all the life here on Earth, in our solar system. And it's just so cool to see that as they're showing it to me, because the vibration is so high, I can feel it. I can feel, I guess, the connectedness of it all being prepared with other beings. Because we're a reptilian race, and the Galactic Federation is hugely part of this trading, trading and Lyran and other systems and other star things. Is that my family calling?
No, it probably is. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's my family calling.
So I just thought that was amazing how we have these different alliances. So they go through each other, to out of respect.
I have a question about that, if I may. Not mess you up or anything, but so there is Star Alliance, and what groups are in that Star Alliance? Do you happen to know? I mean, is it Andromeda that is Star Alliance, or is it many different planets and stuff that are in that? Or
well, I can only say what I know from what they've told me, because I will never tell you anything that I don't know. I'm okay with saying I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, our Star Alliance has many different ETs. Because my home planet is actually one of my jobs is working the trade route where these ETs stop, and so I'm used to seeing so many different types of ETs. That's why I love diversity here on the planet. And hear all these different languages. It's just such an amazing, life to live. And so we have so many different types of ETs, a part of the Star Alliance. I don't know, I guess anything that you could imagine, really, is there. So, yeah, and a part of the Star Alliance that I'm a part of is, humans call it the Universal Police. A lot of people have seen reptilians in armor. That's kind of a part of this Universal Police unit that is a part of the Star Alliance. And this is just one of many, okay? So, like I said, I'm from the Andromeda Galaxy on a planet called Fugui. And we are definitely part of the Andromeda Galaxy system. Now, that it's a really huge galaxy. 1.5 times as big as the Milky Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I think it's like 150 light years or something similar to that. But So it's really huge, and we kind of patrol that. And I'm just using human words,
Sure.
like patrolling the area. But so within the Star Alliance, we have many different ETs that we work with on these patrols, where we're kind of going out into the galaxies, to the universe and these planets, and receiving stress calls, or I don't have all the details, but it's like we're assisting others in defending themselves from outside influence or outside energies and entities that are not beneficial to the planet.
Would that be the Orion Wars? I mean, is there still a part of the Orion Wars still going on, would they say? Or are they just kind of doing the patrolling so that doesn't reoccur?
You know, I don't know. Isn't the Orion Wars, isn't that in the Milky Way galaxy?
You know, I don't know, but I just know that I understand from Ayano that a group that is here working with our government they have been in basically a war with them for eons.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know more about that than I would. Shoot, you got the direct links right there. and I think the Milky Way is part of the Milky Way system, and I know that we don't patrol Milky Way at all. We kind of stay out of the Milky Way's area just because of so many other ETs and Federations alliances that are already here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's enough here, you know, with all that's happening on Earth. So we just basically stay out in the Andromeda galaxy area.
Okay.
But you may think those wars, I'm sure, could still be going on. I don't know anything about it.
But, well, you know, like you said, there's the patrolling and for protection for everybody. And this is probably not the only alliance that is doing that. So I find this so fascinating because, you know, we just think of our universe as being huge, but I mean, our little galaxy as being huge, but the universe is, you know, and there's multi-universes and such. So you've got all these different alliances that seem to work together, and in some respects, even in these probably starships. What did they call them? Now I forgot what he called them. But that the virtual cities, they're huge, you know, and there's so many different groups that are on those working together on those ships. So I just find it so fascinating that Galactic Federation's the only one that we hear about, but yet there's so many, many, many more.
Yeah, there's so many, and you know, it's good that people are aware of the Galactic Federation that's here, that's doing so much work for Earth. You know, because they're like a direct link,
right?
You know, to further out. So, you know, they're like our satellite kind of if we're trying to call home or. They kind of like catch it all. They catch everything, and they can also help us relay that to where it needs to go. So, you know, it's good to know about them being here, and I just think it's fascinating that we overlap one another, and so there's a great love out there in the universe to help out. That everyone's so willing and eager to help each other and to work together. Even though here on Earth we can't even work with our own, you know, human race.
No, we can't even work with our own species. Exactly.
Right. See? I was trying not to use that word.
I know you were. I just thought I'd help you with that. You can use it. It's okay. It's okay. But, you know, Hollywood has made species a bad word. It has. It's been Hollywood that's done it.
Yeah, they do that to a lot of people.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Especially to us reptilian types.
Oh my goodness! How many movies and shows have they had that they always depict all the horrible ETs that are invading as reptilian of some kind? I'm so sick of that, aren't you?
Well, actually, no, because I tell you, yes and no. Yes, because I'll add to that. I'll elaborate on that one. Yes, because I don't like to be placed on the ETs because it just instills more fear with people. But no, because I have to say, one of my favorite shows to watch was V.
Oh, I loved V.
Now, okay, thank you for saying that, because I know that it was meant to be scary for the humans and these evil reptilians, but you know what? I just loved so much that they were having a show like that represented something close to my people. I just couldn't get enough of it, you know.
And it showed that there was groups within that civilization that were like the humans and wanted to live harmoniously.
Right, the fifth column, and
fifth column,
and that's actually really important to note here, is that there are some groups of ETs that are self-serving. Doesn't mean they're evil. It just means that they're not servicing humans.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not here to service and benefit the humans. Doesn't make them evil. There's a very big gap there between evil and self-serving.
You're absolutely right.
So we have to keep that in perspective and not see things so black and white all the time. But they're, you know, I love seeing their face when they get their skin ripped off and you see the scales underneath, and I used to just almost cry seeing that. And I gotta tell you, I think someone is truly in the know who makes that show, because the newest version of that show, which I think only had 2 seasons or something, is crazy.
Right.
Now you know, I don't know if you know this, but most reptilian communities, and there's many communities, are matriarchal. There is a queen. And now it's not going to be the same kind how we perceive queens down here as rulers and, you know, slashing their slaves and all this stuff, but they're queens. And there is such love with the queen and her connecting to all the other beings within the group. And I about fainted that one day when I saw on V where the queen went into the room to give bliss to all her reptilian beings.
Yes.
Do you know that that's true?
I know that. When I heard, I knew it. I knew it was too. When I said, this is a similar feeling I got when Ayano was around me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was kind of like a Kundalini experience. Yes.
Right. Yeah, you could feel it through every chakra system. And
exactly.
It was just, I don't know if there's words to express how beautiful that is, but I seriously thought when I...
It is. I know that.
So someone's in the know. Someone knows that that's real, because I couldn't believe they actually put that in there.
I know. I thought that was pretty interesting that they put that in too. Yeah. Well, you know what? I've got some questions here from people.
Oh, great.
Okay. I don't want to lose your train of thought of where you're at, but because I want to make sure you get to say everything you want to say.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay, good. So Bridget asks, 20 years ago, I was told that that her reptilians were part of the Galactic Federation. Or I guess with the Greys, the reptilians, and the sectoids, but she cannot exactly remember. I don't know what she means by that, but I guess what she's saying is she was told 20 years ago that all of these groups are there's parts of these groups that are in the Galactic Federation. Do you know if that's the case?
I'm certain that they are. Again, because there's so many different types of each of the ET groups. They not only live where I live in the Andromeda Galaxy, but there's multiple. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many live here in the Milky Way. This Milky Way galaxy is huge. So I can definitely agree with her that there's every type of ET imaginable that we can think of that definitely is a part of the Galactic Federation as well. It's just Yeah, sure. I just know that my group is not a part of them, except in working relationship.
Well, I find this really interesting because I think it was I'm not exactly sure. I think it was Sheldon Nigel, but there was some kind of a channeling that they were saying that that the reptilians and the Greys are not a part of the Galactic Federation. So that's all they left it, just like that. And so you're going, well, if they're not part of the Galactic Federation, well, they must be evil. Yes. They didn't go on to say, but they're a part of another star alliance out there. So it's really
there's the missing detail stuff. We have another issue. Humans have another problem with assumption. That if somebody says something, then the opposite must be true. But that's kind of limited thinking. It's good not to assume things, but to ask more questions.
Yes, it is.
If they're not a part of the Galactic Federation, what other alliance are they with? Or ask the question, who all is within the Galactic Federation, and do they work with those groups? I know, I have heard and I feel intuitively the truth that, the Pleiadians, the Lyrians, and the Nordics, and those more human-type ETs, are the biggest part of the Galactic Federation, but it's still a federation, meaning multiple.
Exactly, that's the whole thing, federation, right.
Right.
And galactic meaning it's the galactic, all of them.
And that's pretty big.
There's so many people, including myself, have been, been in front of a council where you saw several different, lots of different types of ETs. Wasn't just reptilians. There was, there were Greys, there were insectoids, there was a blobby-looking thing that didn't really have a shape. There was some others that just had energy orbs, and then there were some humans. So they're all connected. I think that's a question I have. Did you feel the sense that the Star Alliance is more in a feeling of they realize that we are all one, we're all family, we're all one, and that we're all connected?
Oh, definitely. That's a major string running through everything, is that we're all source energy. We all go back to the source. It's just that where we are at consciously, or in this moment of now, is interesting because we're all, different levels of vibrations for consciousness. And you, like you said earlier, we're all multidimensional beings. So if you look to the right and you look to your left, on an etheric level, you could see all your other lives happening at the same time.
Right.
So that gets a little confusing. Just depending on where your consciousness is at, is where you are at and now. But we all go back to that source energy. And it's interesting when I teach my classes because I go through that a little bit. I talk about the human soul group versus our ET soul groups that are out there. And I preface that by saying no one is more valuable, no one is more special. We're all unique and equal in the fact that we're all source energy. But this group decided to go over here and became humans, and this group over here decided to go, and do this, and they have this long lineage of, every race of being, including humans, have their lineage of where that DNA comes from. And it's a fascinating trip of eons of time, to watch these things grow and progress, and see this being change over here because some other ET entities came in and mated with them and became a whole new species, yet their main species still resides on that planet. And then this over here became the dolphins, and they actually came to Earth. It's just fascinating if we could have a holographic view of just Earth and ETs that are here and where they came from. Oh, wouldn't that be fun if we could have a holodeck and
Yes.
put this up on the screen? And how many hours could you stand in that thing just learning all these things?
I love that. I mean, they did a holographic screen to show me about Earth and how Earth was killing itself and how it could end up a possible reality that it could go to, was just self-annihilation through Gaia fighting back from what everybody's doing to her.
That'd be depressing.
Well, it was. Yeah, it was. And, it was like you were there because, what's that, the holograph. Which brings me to a point. Do you remember these holographic images being shown to you, or did they download them into your mind, or how did you get your communication?
I've always just described it as telepathy, where it will come in the form of visual images. With color. Sometimes I hear the. Sometimes there's feeling and knowledge that comes. So it's all those psychic senses we have and talk about and know about. Those all combine together in one package through telepathy. Because so we see those psychic abilities, right? But really, that's a birthright. Has we don't tap into that much here on Earth because of the heavy vibrations of dimensional reality. But they use this all the time to communicate, and that's why all that outwardly expression that we were talking about earlier. So yeah, I kind of get the visual with the audio, with the feeling, and the knowledge all in like a split second. It's just a flash. And I guess you could call it download. I know my ears there's a ringing. Yeah. At different times, and I'll actually just close my eyes and open myself up to allow that, whatever's happening at the time. I don't know what it is, but I just allow it to happen and accept it, so it integrates as best as it can. So, yeah, everyone's kind of different in what they do. Some people get scared with that stuff, but I believe that if I am a deliberate creator, I'm aware of my actions, my vibrations all the time, as a spiritual being.
Can you repeat that? Because you broke up. Breaking up just a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that if I keep my vibration high, being a deliberate creator and being aware of my actions, my vibration at all times as a spiritual being, that everything that I experience and that I attract to me is equal vibration. It's an equal high vibration.
Okay.
So I trust that everything that comes to me is healthy for me. So if I know that I'm a spiritual being, that I'm in a positive state, a high vibration, then everything that comes into me I accept. Because you can't attract the negative energy if you're in a higher vibration. I have that faith that if I know that I am in a high state of vibration, that if I get ringing in my ears, it's a positive thing for me. Now, if I was being upset, if I was crying because I was devastated by something, and then I get a ringing, I'm not sure if it's going to be beneficial for me.
Right.
Because I could have drawn in something else. So it's all about where you're at and what you're attracting.
Which brings me to a question. Have you ever had any faker kind of beings try to come through and tell you they were your family or, trick you or anything?
Yeah, I did.
Tell us about that.
When I was a child, I was told by some entity, and I don't know who it was. I think they were reptilian, but they weren't my family. I know that now. But they were telling me to kill these animals, and I'm a huge animal lover. I work for animals. I'm in service to animals here on the planet. Right. And I was told to kill this one frog with the metal poker stick I had in my hand, and I did it. And you know what? I still feel the pain of that today. Yeah, I do. I don't know why I did it. I think it was because I'm so used to hearing my people in my head that I just figured it was them. And as soon as I questioned it and I hesitated, and then, you know, as a child, if you authoritative voice, right, you just go with it because you feel like they have your best interest at heart. Well, I realized that wasn't my... It's hard to know that as a child. And another time, I had there was a bird in a bush about 30 feet away, and this entity was telling me to shoot it, you know, to see how good I was at shooting, by seeing if I could hit this bird with the... And I'm like, no, kill a bird, because you know what happened? I put that BB gun down in rejection of shooting it off. It hit my leg. The butt of the gun hit my leg and fired, and it actually hit the bird.
Oh.
I don't know what happened, but that was devastating to me because I was so upset that hit the bird regardless of whether I intentionally did it or not. It still hit the bird. So I've had a couple of those come through, and then I did find myself outside of my driveway, sleeping next to the driveway one night. Like I told you, I was afraid of the dark. I was terrified. I remember running back into the house, feeling a very strong presence watching me. And they kind of told me later on that what happened was that negative, or not negative, but, you know, self-serving, the reptilians had come to do something with me, but they stopped them. See, because they know that my family won't come here. That's one disadvantage. So I have to rely on other EPs. My other So they did, you know, they work with the Federation, and, you know, they got somebody down here to help out. That was really eerie. And then just one other time, when I was at the Hopi Reservation with some friends, I woke up to this bright light flashing in the window. And this was probably about 3 a.m. And our group, the one person in our group was a channel for this one entity. They call in the morning, this person who channels the ambassador said that what happened was we were all there on the reservation, and this negative entity, you know, more negative type entity came over trying to our group. They actually pulled some of the group outside. Some of the group actually woke up and went outside. They were pulling us out. My people kept me asleep, which is really strange because I definitely would have woken up if I heard up. But no, they pulled them outside. They kept me awake, and the only thing I saw was a big, bright, flashing light. And they told me that was one of the groups, the ambassador. That was his people coming and stopping that group from taking us.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was quite. That was very.
Well, you know what? Our time, I can't believe it. It just like jumped. It was like we're almost out of time. I want to make. What's that there?
We had a quantum leap right there.
Yeah. Holy cow. I can't believe it. We ran out of time. But I want you to tell us about your book and your future information and all about your group and everything like that, okay?
Yeah, I'll do that real quick. My book is We Are Among You Already. It's pretty much just stating that, you know, a lot of people are looking for first contact and looking outside of themselves, outside of Earth for ET contact. But, you know, the ETs are already here. We're here already. And there's it's an anthology, so it's 18 different stories of people talking about their own ET identities and recalling everything that they know, and we're putting it in the book so it'll help other people find their own truth. We're not about trying to convince anybody or tell people that this is the truth you need to learn. We're trying to self-empower people by letting them find their own truth, by showing them other people's truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our intention. It's unconditionally loving intention, just to help and assist. And that's a part of my mission here on Earth. So unfortunately, they have been bugging me to start my second book. I say unfortunately because, it's a lot of work. So I am on my second book. I'm doing some interviews now. They told me that they'll be guiding people to me who need to be in it, because this is a new era. We've entered a new era. It's a new energy, it's a new vibration. So this book will have a different vibration that's more appropriate for now. So those people that need to be in it will be guided to me. So, if anyone hears this and they feel that resonating truth in their gut, they know they need to be a part of this, they're more than welcome to contact me. So I'm doing interviews for that now. I also, I recently moved to Phoenix about a year ago. So I'm new to the area, but I have established a meetup group out here called the Phoenix Star Being and Spiritual Group. That just kind of goes along with my center that I started, the Star Being and Spiritual Center. So I'm making it a group, meetup group, so that we can meet hopefully, and I have to be a part of that. Where I'm in touch with people of like mind, and we all learn from each other. Although I may be an instructor, when you teach people, you also learn yourself, and that's what it is.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So that's my intention. I have a class coming up March 2nd out here in Phoenix on Starseed, and my classes are like 4 hours long, and I have handouts that I give people that they can take home with them. I usually bring my ET material. I have pieces of ET craft that I bring with me, so people can hold and feel them. At the UFO conference, I actually just bought an ancient alien artifact that was found in a cave, and I won't say where, just that someone doesn't find out where. It was uncovered in a cave, a bunch of alien artifacts that definitely have the gray, carving on these artifacts. And of course, the one I picked, he said that there's only 5 pieces similar to this. They do not know. Now, this guy's an archaeologist and used to digging up minerals and things like this. He said this one that I picked, they don't know what the material of it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not something that they're familiar with here on Earth, so they don't know if it came from somewhere else or if it's just an unknown substance here on Earth, but they don't know what it is. So I've got that here, and I think I'll bring that with me, too, so people can experience that as well, because there's energy in these things. And, I always bring my meteorites and things like that, so people can get a feel for these things. But it's kind of fun. It's fun experience, especially if you're sensitive.
Well, that's great. Do you have an email?
Yes. Yeah, my email is, I'll have to spell it. It's Fuguian at Hotmail, and that's spelled F as in Frank, AQUIAN.
So that's, say it one more time.
It's F as in Frank. So it's FAQUIAN.
At Hotmail. Great. And any other information that you'd like to give them? Maybe you're going to be speaking any place or on another radio show or anything like that?
At this moment, I don't have anything set up. I had an interview last week, and I just, like sharing, what I have experienced in my knowledge with people. help them feel better about their own experiences, and just to let other people know that, we're all here and we can work together and support one another through this time. If we could just get over the need to judge and be fearful of things, there's so much love out there, and that's what we need to focus on, is that love and support, and going through these next processes together as people and as souls, regardless of whether we're hybrids or starseeds or human soul group here, or animals, or life, other life like trees and rocks and
right.
We're all doing this together.
Well, yes, we are. And I think that was a beautiful closing speech. Unless there was, one quick, I don't want to get in trouble here with the radio station, but do you have anything that you left out that you need to just share for a couple of seconds or anything? Or you got it all? So.
Oh, I pretty much got all. My people would just like to say,
we will need to talk, because that's what's been coming through to me as a star language. So I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show, Miesha.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Alrighty, dear. We'll get together soon, and I'd love to have you come and present here in Las Vegas.
We'll have to plan that.
Yes, let's. I get your information now. So. All right, dear. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was wonderful. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Starseed Awakening. Until 2 weeks from now, I'll have another show. I will be having, I don't know the date, but I'll be having Tutakana is going to be my next guest.
Love you,
I think it's the 14th. Love you too, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye.